Cherki is a madman. Haaland is an AI creation, and Foden, is he going to get the respect he deserves or not? Smash the like, subscribe if you're brand new. We're going to break down the game. Yeah, you might see a bunch of United shirts in the background, but I live with one of yours, a blue. You know what I mean? It gets my nerves sometimes, but he's happy because Savio didn't play. Right, Daps? Cheers. Smash the like, subscribe if you're new. Let's get into the game. You wiped Bournemouth off the floor. Underrated win, and don't let others tell you otherwise. Bournemouth were up there in second, I believe, at the time on like 18 points, I think. And they've been whooping teams left, right, and centre. You know, they play a high press. You know what? You could actually say Bournemouth play the type of football that Man City are not really, not used to is the correct word, but the type of football they don't like. You know, teams that get up in your faces, press really well. The difference is the man in the middle of the park that started today, that didn't start against Aston Villa. This is where I'm going to start with, is actually Nico Gonzalez. There's so many different players you can praise and pinpoint, but that sixth role is so vital to any recent Pep systems. You could, let's just say that for namesake, right? That single pivot is so key that without a Nico Gonzalez who's filling the boots, or Rodri, you're pretty much not moving the ball at pace or a certain pace, and you're not getting up the pitch quick enough. And today, that showed otherwise. Bournemouth were quite lucky that it didn't end 4-5-1. That's if we're going to keep it a buck. Even towards the end, you know, Reinders or someone like that, it could have got really bad for them. And he got absolutely outcoached and outclassed by the Man City faithful. Simple as that. And you know what? Another thing I'm going to say is a token of, you know what, bit of respect. 35th minute, there was a clap for the man that died, you know, abroad. So yeah, that was, you know what, it's when you see little bits and bobs like that, you don't, sometimes it doesn't translate over to clubs and with fans when certain people that are following your club left, right, and center, right? They don't get shown that kind of, I don't know, appreciation sometimes because they're not known or whatever. So it was nice to see that, because obviously I live with Daps and he was obviously telling me the whole journey and what's happened, blah, blah, blah. So I was quite informed. But yeah, it was nice from the City fans to acknowledge that. But moving on with the game swiftly, yeah, that first half was a joke, innit? Cherki showing Wirtz how it's done in the space of minutes. So if you want to count the Club World Cup, if you want, Cherki got a golden assist there. So I'm going to move my shamelessness on with this. He got if I'm correct, he got a goal, or is it an assist in the Carabao? And then in the Premier League, he also had a goal to his name. So I think he got like 3 goals and 2 assists. Today, he got 2 assists. So the way I'm going to view it, the man's got 3 goals and 4 assists in 7 games. I mean, Sky Sports showed it, so why can't I not mention it, right? So I'm just saying, Wirtz could take a note or two, and he cost pretty much, what, 5 times less of the price, something along them lines. Guy's a ridiculous player. He played the Bernardo Silva role, how Bernardo Silva used to play it, but just a little bit more of the playmaker, closer to Foden, closer to Haaland, and it freed up a lot of space down that right-hand side. And what Pep, I found, done today that was really well, and Daps has been calling for this. I did predict, I thought Doku was going to play with Cherki on the right. I thought Bernardo would get dropped and with Foden in the middle. It's that Foden's taking his 8 centre mid role so well at this moment of time that Foden, Bernardo, even Doku and Cherki are all rotating in that 4 up front. You could call it 4 just behind Haaland with Nico just behind. And they're all working for one another as well. You see Cherki pop up pretty much collecting the ball in centre mid near Nico for one instance. And you'll see Bernardo all the way over on the left, and you see Doku on the right. And you see Foden a little bit higher up to someone like Haaland. Bournemouth could not handle this. They did not know who to pick up, and that's exactly how the second goal happened. You see the combinations between Foden, Cherki, and Haaland. Go look at the original positions as well. Haaland started that whole move off, if we really want to go off of that, which is another part of the game that no one likes to highlight. Haaland's ball game today, hold up, laying off, making off runs, selfless runs as well. It freed up a lot. And the likes of the Bournemouth back 4, especially that right back in the first half, Jimenez, or whatever his name is, he got absolutely dookied. Let's just call it that. I was going to say another word, but you lot might take it wrong. I don't know. He got absolutely Done. He did not know who to pick up. And Doku, again, a bit of an underrated display, getting away and wiggling out of 3 to 4 different kind of players as well at times, which also led to one of the goals. You could legit say today was a tactical masterstroke. It was a plan executed, and Haaland benefited off that. And the fact that Haaland comes off the pitch in 45 minutes, he's laughing and he's pissed off because he knows he should have got a hat trick. It's a man that's hungry. There's going to be a lot of talk about sustainability if, if you look around who scored the second most goals for under Haaland, and there's not many players that are on 3. I don't think no player's got 3 goals. Actually, the one that's closest the most is actually own goals by the guy from Burnley, Stave, or whatever his name is. But when you've got a machine or an AI figure like that up front, I'm telling you now, it's sustainable. Of course, you can say Mark Haaland out the game and you've got a chance, but trust me when I say, because the system caters to the number 9, you leave Cherki or Foden or anyone along them lines with a little bit of space to maneuver in, it is dangerous food. I promise you, it's very dangerous. And the thing is, it will come. They will chip in. And I'll say by the end of the season, you might see Haaland on like 35 Premier League goals. I'll be so honest. But you see in the end that all these other players have got 10 goals here, 12 goals there, 5, 6 here. They're just chipping in. Might not be enough to win the league, perhaps. You never know. But it's enough to win games, especially big games like Bournemouth. I thought, I did predict Man City to win. I thought Bournemouth would struggle with this side. But you can reference stats to me if you don't believe me. But I said that Aston Villa performance was nothing to take confidence away from. Like there was no reason to not believe in this City side. You conceded 8 goals in the Premier League in total, but you scored the most with 20 Premier League goals at the moment, right? I call that a little bit sustainable. And if you look at that performance at Aston Villa, right, that second half you dominated them. Sometimes other teams just play well and dominate very well, but can't break down the other side because they defend supremely great. So when you look at it like that, credit to Aston Villa for defending like beasts, in my opinion, when it comes down to it, because that's exactly what they did. So the way I kind of view it is, I wasn't really looking at that City loss against Villa thinking, oh, they might be in trouble here, they can't sustain it. It's just that Villa on their day were just really, really good. That's just how I viewed it. But in going off of today, obviously Nico Riley got that goal. I thought Cherki got a hat-trick of assists. That man is such a beautiful player. But Riley's such an underrated figure for what he's doing at left-back. He fills in the void for Vardio. And today, Semenyo's been spoken about very, very highly. But I'm looking at a game like this thinking, why is no one's probably going to mention that? Oh, Riley has Semenyo on toast, right? And he's been talked about 80, 90 million. So Riley must be worth much the same, near enough money, considering he's a lot younger. Trust me, that man's there is a future England left back, and he just don't know it yet. I hope he knows it, but there's a run for money for Lewis Skelly. You want to talk about Lewis Skelly? Talk about O'Reilly as well. It's a good battle. It's a good conversation to have. It doesn't need to be unhealthy, right? They both possess some similar qualities. But yeah, if we go off the game, I think, he rotated quite well as well. Pep, he got a lot of players on the pitch. Marmoush got minutes. Rodri got minutes at the very end. But that second half was so controlled, right? And this is why I look at Bournemouth, where they were hesitating. Even when Evan Nilsson came on, didn't make a difference. It was very, very controlled, slowed down. And it kind of reminded me a little bit how City used to kind of close off games and frustrate opponents to push higher. But Bournemouth just didn't want to do that. And you know what? They didn't take the bait. But if they did, you saw the amount of space that Foden was operating with. Foden, I need to talk about Foden. Because this is where stats are misleading at times. Where the vital stats, the GA merchants, right? If you go look at the 2 goals, right? For even when Cherki headed the ball on, or even when Haaland missed the goal, or even for the play of the second goal, Foden has been involved in so many pre-assists or the run of play for certain goals, but just because he didn't get the end of it, if people saw that list and say, oh yeah, look, Foden's got assists, what's that against Bournemouth? What is that? And you go look at his GA for the year, you'd think he's been a rubbish player. But that's just seriously not the case. This is why I got to implore people, properly watch a game and look at the performance. Foden put in an absolute great display in the 8. Not really playing, he plays higher, don't get me wrong at times. He's sometimes up there with Cherki, but if you look at him dropping deep, collecting the ball with Nico Gonzalez, Bob's your uncle. You can't get close to him. I thought we put in an absolute marvellous display. And this is why he is one of my favorite players in the Premier League. Even if I am a United fan, I can appreciate other players. And he's just one of them. And he's English. I support England. So that's that. But yeah, Nunes run a form as well. Nunes has been mint this year. I don't think he's put what, 1 foot wrong, maybe in Champions League, was it? And that was up for debate as it is. But stuff like this is underrated. Today, if you're gonna criticize anyone, you criticize Donnarumma for that first goal against for Bournemouth, you know, and you claw it back to obviously get 3 goals back, 3-1. But you look at that and you feel like, well, Donnarumma, like your wrists made of Weetabix. That's not what you pay for. But he's been the biggest difference. He made a great save from that Krupi guy as well. So there's no denying he made up for it, but that was just a silly mistake. It sets you back that little touch, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Not for me. But let's just get onto the main part of it all. You know, I could talk about Doku, Foden. I can talk about Cherki all day long. Could go down as one of the best buys of the whole summer. And the fact he's cost what he's cost compared to what that one from Germany cost is mental, right? And they were chasing both of them and had conversation with both of them. And I remember Mons wanted Cherki so badly, even over the likes of Wirtz. But I'm not going to get too shameless. But that man, Erling Haaland, just keeps getting better and better. And his overall gameplay, right, not just his goal scoring ability, people love to compare if they're good at football, right, and if they're suited to the number 9. They're not. They can't be better than this footballer because they're a certain aesthetic. You know what I mean? And I look at that and I feel like, do people really watch this man? His whole game under Pep Guardiola is evolving bit by bit. There's no reason or there's no coincidence that he's absolutely doing an absolute mazzoline for Norway as well, getting him in the World Cup too for the first time in how long? Not just him. There's many others to credit, Erdegaard too, and they got, you know, Oscar Bob. Didn't even feature today, Oscar Bob, so I expect him to feature midweek in the Champions League. Good rotation, good headaches to have, right? But everyone's back fit. And Pep Guardiola touched on that as well in the press conference, the difference when he was talking down on Daily Mail for their stupid questions, because he doesn't forget that man, even if he is scratching his head, leaving marks, right? But that man, Erling Haaland, is developing and he's developed into such a all-round hype striker. It just doesn't get spoken about enough. And that man's hungry for more. He has got elite mentality, elite hunger. And you know what? He's just an elite baller. Best number 9 in the world. Can't compare no one to him. They don't come close. The only one that you can really make a comparison with, in my opinion for him, if you just want to do who's the overall better number 9, is probably Harry Kane. And that's an actual good debate to have these days, because obviously Harry Kane's got a lot more to his game in his locker than Erling Haaland is. But if we're talking deadly finishers, mate, I'd rather Haaland be in front of goal than Harry Kane. That's just me. You know Haaland, I'll give you another step. And just correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but I got told he could have changed during the game. Since Haaland's joined Man City, he's been offside for roughly, I think, before that game, I don't know if he was called offside, 14 times? 14 times with all the goals that he scored. Make of that what you wish. But Man City, fans, whatever, your team balled out today and you deserve every little bit of flowers. You're sitting in second place and you got the Scousers next, and I hope you win. Simple as that. Put them out of their misery and do the right thing. And Haaland, hopefully you do your job as well. Right? We need more for now. But anyways, smash the like, subscribe if you're brand new. Let me know if I've missed anything. Yeah, man. Good result. I wanted you to lose, but here we are. Love.